Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidence Through Cabaret. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are so glad you're here. Today, we're featuring Confidence with Coffee. What are you drinking, Ryan?
I am drinking Taylor's Decaf, actually, at the moment. What about yourself?
I'm drinking, my usual instant, but I'm a little confused. You do tea and you're like herbal tea and you're doing decaf and
I'm
to
looking for some variety.
caffeine is the magic that is you. I don't know.
I mean, I understand. I think I was climbing back up there in my caffeine amounts per day, and it went from being 2 cups of coffee a day to about 6. So I was like, this needs to stop. So I'm now down to, this is my second of the day, and it's a decaf.
This is not bad. That doesn't count as your second because it's decaf.
But it tastes delicious.
This is my third. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Nice.
This is my third. So we're good. We're good.
Did your coffee cup just change?
Okay.
Did your coffee cup just change, or am I seeing the other side of it?
I'm left-handed, so it's
there
weird.
We go. I saw the fancier chat bit first, and I was like, did you just change the coffee cup that you have in your hand?
Yes, I have one in each hand.
I was like, oh dear.
I love the podcast that we're sharing today.
Yes.
Amber Rose Washington and her story is just stunning. I mean, and it's the story. You can't edit this. Like no. We're the whole thing live and uncut.
Yeah.
We've done it in 2 parts just because obviously some people like to kind of grab sound bites at different times, but
yeah.
But honestly, listen to the whole thing. You can find it on Confidence Through Cabaret, on Podbean, or anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can go to confidencethroughcabaret.com and it's on the landing page along with all of our vlogs or vlogs and all of our blogs or blogs and our podcasts, our contributions to others when we collaborate, articles, all kinds of stuff. Go to the landing page, confidencethroughcabaret.com.
It's just been a massive update as well. There's so much more stuff on there.
There's so much. I'm so excited, and it was amazing because one of our friends from our community was like, you guys are on fire. And I was like, yes, we're so excited to be sharing and featuring. And this week, it's just so special sharing and featuring Amber Rose Washington and her story, her unbelievable story. Do you know?
Yeah.
And so Amber Rose Washington has written a book called Hiding from Myself. You need to go check that out. You can find it on all the Amazons and everywhere else. But I love the moment when she's sharing with us about how she helped people get over stage fright.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's something we can all relate to, and I think
us in so many different ways.
Yeah. And I admire people who are working on getting over stage fright because a lot of us just won't even go to that.
Sure.
And we talk a lot about it in Confidence Through Cabaret, don't we, about stage life and whatever that is. So we're on our stage life now, like that's one of them, but that's there are so many ways that we need to show up, and that's your stage, however that is. And so I think it just ties with us so beautifully, talking about how Amber's sharing her gifts to help others get over stage fright. And then
what happened? Going through it themselves,
Yeah. I mean, never think you're going to have to get over it. You think, oh, I'm sharing this because I've been over it. I've got it. Actually, you don't ever get over it, right?
No, absolutely. Shall we have a listen to the clip?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay.
What you're going to do is, if you're in a Kodak theater and there's close to 4,500 people in there, they said, wait, how do we deal with 4,500 people? I can't even deal with singing in front of 4 of you people right now. How am I going to sing in front of 5,000 people? And I said, when the lights come on, about 4,700 of them are going to disappear magically. And you're going to have to sing in front of about 300 people or less. And here's how you do that. You're going to pick out 5 or 6 of them on stage. And if you're going to be moving around stage, which I suggest you do, is pick 5 or 6 people around the audience, close up to you and maybe in the 4th row, and sing directly to them. And the way you're going to do it And I picked this one girl out. Her name was Brittany, and she won like the Northeastern United States, American Idol competition. And, I got her an audition in Boston, because of that. And she was one of those people that stared at the floor. And I said to her dad while he was in my studio once, I said, just understand what I'm about to say to your 16-year-old daughter. And, don't take any offense to what I'm about to say, because it's going to sound really weird. And he goes, sure. And he was this, really, Italian guy that looked scary. If, like if you say the wrong thing, you're in trouble. And I said, Brittany, what you're going to do is you're going to look at me right now as you're singing, and you're going to only look at two people in your entire life the way you're about to look at me. One of them is me, of course. The other person you're going to look at like this is your future husband. And she goes, huh? I want you to look into my eyes as you sing, but I don't want you to just look into my eyes. I want you to look inside of me. I want you to look through my eyes as you're singing. Don't look at my forehead here. Don't look at my stomach. Don't look at my hair. Don't look at the wall behind me. Look directly into my eyes as you're singing. And then I want you to do the same thing to your dad. And she did, and she did it beautifully. It took her a few times. But what we're doing is we're turning the tide. We're turning the stage around. Instead of everyone staring at me,
Right.
now you're making someone else uncomfortable by staring at them.
Well, that was fantastic. I really find with Amber's story that because she's so honest about the fact that this is something that she's taught for years and taught to a very high level. When you're prepping people to overcome stage fright for an audience of potentially millions, then you've got to know your stuff. And that's the thing, like Amber as she's saying is, she's like, I've got this, I can do this on this stage. But when it comes to other areas of my life where my stage needs to also be present, it's a very different matter. And I think that's something that we can all be aware of, because when we say stage life, much like when we do it on the website, I think there's a potential where people occasionally sometimes think that we're talking about a literal physical stage. And that's not always the case. Your stage is wherever you need to show up. So when we're talking about this, and when Amber's talking about this, she's talking about like how she appears in the world and how she deals with the idea of that stage fright representing itself in that way. And it's a whole nother layer to be peeled back.
Yeah, and it's very sobering that no matter what it seems like, we all have an area of our life where it's a daily practice and sometimes even a struggle to keep our confidence at the level we need it at. So, and we always talk about personal life, work life, and stage life. And here's a beautiful example of where Amber's talking about, helping others in stage life, but then her own personal life becomes that stage. And I think we always say start from where you're strong, right? And start from where you're, and for me, my work life is my strong part.
Yeah.
And then look at where else you need to uplift your confidence. And and that changes.
Yeah.
And look at Amber's story. I mean, if you listen to the whole thing, it's incredible. But there are there are eras of her life where her personal life was so strong, and then all of a sudden she's then talking about needing to uplift and get over that stage fright in her personal life.
Yeah. And I think it's something that we can all relate to in our own way.
Yeah.
There's plenty. I mean, you and I have talked about this a number of times over since we started Confidence Through Cabaret. About what it's like to, for my experience, I was pretty much there when it came to stage fright. I'd learned a lot of the stuff that I needed to do, and I'd gotten myself to a point where I was like, no, you're going to go out and do this now. You've got this. But did I have that confidence to show up in other areas of my life? No, I did not. And it's been a gradual process, and is a continuing process, to make sure that resolve and that strength is carried through, so I can show up in other areas of my life with the same sort of zeal and confidence. What about yourself?
Well, so I would have thought when I came to cabaret and started taking classes and things, I would have thought it would have been my stage life. So I've done lots of stuff on stage. My work life is a stage life in itself anyway, running big conferences and projecting through very large ballrooms and things at hotels. So there was always a stage element to my work life anyway. And I would have thought I was very strong in my personal life. So I would have said, I don't really know which one I want to uplift, but maybe it's my stage life in terms of a literal stage and, performing and things. But what I learned by developing those stage life skills was that it was actually my personal life that needed to be informed. I didn't know that.
Sure.
Started looking at, how do I feel about others looking at me and potentially judging me and not being okay with me and judging my work. I'm not an artist and all of those kind of things. But actually what it brought up was that's because I'm not so secure in my personal life. I just didn't know that because I'm a true extrovert. So, it never occurred to me that I was creating this persona personally that wasn't truly who I am. And so it's all layers, isn't it? I mean, and I think that's the lesson, is that it is a constant practice and it does change. And there were times in my personal life I was super strong and confident, and then there were other times when I was less so. When my husband died, it was like uh-oh, like I don't have a backup crew anymore.
Right.
Grown up, I don't have like, what do I do? I'm in the UK. I don't have any family here. What I don't, and then it just completely eroded the foundations. And I had to build up again. And I think these are ebbs and flows, aren't they? There are different times. And there are a lot of people who, and I don't know, I wonder if this will be like you or not, but there are a lot of people who are working from home right now and have been for nigh on a year, right? Like, so they will feel really secure in their Zoom life. But then when they've got to go back out into the real world, what's that going to be like? And what does that do to their personal life? And it'd be interesting to see if your stage confidence has changed. Maybe it's stronger as a result of this when you do go back on a real stage.
Well, I did have a preview because I did a show just before the whichever number of lockdowns it was, in sort of, was it November, December? I think it was around then. And because now the separation from the stage has been so long that when it was time to go back on the stage, I took a minute to myself and I was like, this is mine, because I was just like, no, this is mine. Like,
it's self-talk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of, like, I think the desire to perform and the desire to kind of do the thing that I was doing for so long was so strong that I was like, okay, this can be channeled. And don't get me wrong, I still have the butterflies. There's no point at which I don't have butterflies, especially in the lead up to a performance. But a lot of this has been, for me, learning a process of giving in and letting go to that, because I think after a certain point, I remember very clearly a time when I was about to go on stage to do a show. It was only a small thing, very private, intimate gig, but I was nervous as hell, just the worst, because it was my friend's wedding and I was singing with them for my friend's wedding. So I was like, oh God, we were doing a whole set and it was really fun. And I was with the bride and groom, who were the band members. So I was like, okay, I've got to get this set right. And I looked at my sister, who was DJing, and I was like, I don't remember any of the words. They've gone, just gone.
Right.
And I was sat there like, oh God. And she went, you're fine. You have this. You've done these songs a number of times. Like, you're fine. You're going to be fine. And I was like, I don't know. I can't remember the words. And I just thought, well, I've got no choice. They've just said my name. I've got to go off and do this now. And as I walked on, the minute that boom started, I was like, here we go. And it just kicked straight in. And I had a moment of going, just let go and see what happens. And as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. It comes back. but it was the letting go that took a long time to set in. You know, you
Yeah.
can't control every variable.
You can't, and it's interesting because we set ourselves up for success so that we can control the controllables, but
Yes,
there are sometimes things that just take us away, and I think that self-talk is so important.
it is. Yeah,
What we say to ourselves matters, and it's what we experience in our body.
yeah, exactly.
It's so connected.
Yeah.
I think in Amber Rose's interview, it's a little bit different in that
Yes.
she's talking about going out into the world. She's fine in her own mind. She's fine
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
But the people that she knows and loves
hmm
are then going to, have a response.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think, I have been in those situations a few times where the people around you that you put your trust and love into are not supporting you.
Yeah.
And they're not saying the things that you need to be saying to yourself.
Yes.
It's so
Yeah.
great if your community is saying, yes, you've got this. Yes, you can do
Yeah.
this, as you said,
Exactly.
you know this, and then great.
But if you don't have that, yeah,
Then you need to find that.
exactly.
I'm not saying like cut all those people out of your life,
No,
but
no,
I'm
no.
saying don't give them that power.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is a lot about where you draw your power, and if you can draw that from somewhere inside, that's a place of good intention, it's a place of strength, and a place of willed success in its own way, then you have the only limit to your potential is what limits you put into place.
Yes.
Once you embrace that side of it, you can start working around systems, and you can start working around the different ways in which other people want to perceive your work or your life or whatever it is that you're trying to channel. It's when you've got that, when you've rooted yourself and you know who you are and you know what you want to do, that's when you can start from that place of strength, and that's when you can channel that into what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk about this forever. There are other comments in other Confidence Through Coffees, and also in the rest of this series on videos. So there's about mindset, there's about self-limiting beliefs, there's about goals, there's a and it's more and more added every week. So do check it out Monday to Friday. Check out confidencethroughcabaret.com, because all of our content is on there, which is exciting. And then when you make your membership profile, if you decide to, then there's even more, because then there's masterclasses on the how-tos and the workbooks and the workshops and all kinds of it's just so much in there. But just even on the landing page, you'll find everything. Or you can check out Podbean, Confidence Through Cabaret, and check out Amber Rose Washington's. All the social medias are Confidence Through Cabaret, with the exception of Twitter, which is at YB. YW YS, and I am on Clubhouse at Heather YB YW YS, and that stands for what, Ryan?
That stands for your body,
your
world,
your world,
your stage.
Your stage. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.